Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We welcome you to this webinar. And we had this series going on for our colleagues, our peers, our partners, and we discuss different topics. The idea is to enrich our knowledge and help us in our career advancement and journey of knowledge and learning. So we see quite a few people here, and that's very good. The focus of today's webinar will be on two things. What are the trending skills that we must be aware about as supply chain professionals and related technologies? And equally important, how to get there. What are the methods? What are the tools available to us? And also, what are some of the pitfalls? So we'll have discussed all of that. I would like to roll quickly because we have a lot of stuff to cover. And let's go to the next slide, which is right here. This is myself, Aftab Khan. I'm the director at BRASI. I've done a few things in the career. I'm really happy to share that. And here's my colleague, Jennifer Brousseau. And I'd like her to please say a few words about yourself, Jennifer, if you don't mind.
Sure. I have been working in manufacturing for most of my career, kind of a broad career path in both jewelry and apparel manufacturing, and have really enjoyed some leadership roles, mostly focused on the operations side of the business. And I'm happy to share as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, objectives. This is the area that we like to kind of just go quickly before going to the meat of the presentation. So we'll see here, we'll learn about hiring trends, what the employers are looking for. We must know, even if we are working somewhere already employed, a time can come that you would like to get promotions elsewhere or to change careers, change jobs, and they will see what's a good time to do that. So that's what we learn here today. And growth roles, which roles are better for growing in your career? Some roles they're nice, they're rewarding, but they don't go up the ladder. So which roles are, and for those roles, what do you need to know? And to identify high value skills, the skills are there. I mean, that set of a skill, but which ones are more noticeable, demonstrable, and the employers are looking for that, and they are the path to further advancement in your careers. And then be aware of the career traps, risks, hazards, as we'll see in the coming slide. Briefly slides down that we need to be really aware of what keeps us behind, slows us down, the traps and the risks and hazards, if you call them, complacency, for example, but there's many more. So unless we know them, it's hard to avoid them. So we should be aware to do that. And then you build your own roadmap. See, everybody is unique. We have our history of learning. We have our future to plan and to work on it. So we are unique. We need to build our roadmap, but there are tools, of course, available which are equally good for everyone. There's a standard set of tools, but we frame them and we customize them for our own needs, our own ambitions and passions. So that's that. And then we go to the reality. Why are we here? So I think best done by Jennifer. Can you please walk us through this?
Absolutely, happy to. So as Aftab had mentioned earlier, we are very curious about everyone who's in attendance today. We're going to try and use this QR that you see here on the page. There's a QR code, so please scan that using your mobile devices. And in the poll, tell us what industry you're currently working in. While those results are coming in, I will get started.
Yep, I'm trying myself.
Yeah. Okay, great. I was going to say, I'll let you test it and alert me if there's any issues with it. Okay. So I'd like to start with a simple question. I want everyone to think about something that you've purchased recently. Maybe it was on your phone or maybe on your computer, but perhaps it was a pair of shoes or food from the grocery store or something else that you've ordered online. And think about before it reaches you, how many companies do you think were involved? I think that the answer here is usually far more than what we imagine. Every product depends on a supply chain. So today's supply chains, we know, are much more complex than they were even just a few years ago. Customers expect faster delivery than ever before. Companies are sourcing materials from around the world, not just locally. AI and automation are really changing how work is getting done. And we know the word sustainability, it's not just a buzzword out there. It's becoming part of the business decisions that are being made. And then we have geopolitical events, right, that can disrupt supply chains quite literally overnight. So, notice something very interesting here, that none of these 5 components here are challenges that exist by themselves. They all influence one another. So for me, during my career in manufacturing and operations, I learned that supply chain isn't just about moving products or parts. It's about solving problems. And every day, teams have to make decisions with incomplete information, right, or forecasted information. We have changing customer needs and supplier issues and really unexpected disruptions happening all the time. And that's what makes this profession both challenging and very exciting. And because supply chain has become so very important, organizations around the world are really looking for people with the right skills. So after we take a look at these poll results, let's look at what the employers out there are looking for today.
Okay. So we want to move the slide on, Jennifer?
Sure. Let's see what's popping up.
Okay, so there seems to be some technical glitch with this tool. I scan the code myself, so maybe I'm the account holder, I don't know. But you see this code on the screen, 68431956. If it asks for a code, please enter that. Maybe it will work for you, but it didn't work for me, maybe because I'm running the presentation. That could be a reason.
Okay.
New code, 6843. I'm entering it, 68431956. So it just asked me to join. So no, that didn't work. The way it should work should be a pop-up quiz on your screen. Somehow that is not working. I apologize for that, but we are not limited to this technology. We can always use the chat. So please, if you could enter in the chat which industry you're working in, manufacturing, or let's go to the next slide. Yeah, over here. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not showing up. Well, that's okay. If folks here want to, participate through the chat, we'll be happy to take a look at that. And
scan from here. Difference.
We've got food and beverage.
Yes, exactly. So I'm sorry, that was wrong screen. This is the screen we need to scan. So it came up on my screen immediately. So I'm saying I'm participating in it. I'm saying services. See?
Wonderful.
And submit.
This is great. Thank you, everyone. And we've got oil and gas coming in and food and beverage so far. Let's see. Great. Thank you, everyone who's participating here and patient with our technical difficulties.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is great. I think that the important part to remember is that whether you're working in healthcare, manufacturing, retail, technology, energy, government, really any industry, supply chain is what's connecting them all together, right? Remember, each of those arrows on the form or page, none of them are separate silos, right? They all influence and impact each other. Okay, very good. Great. This is great.
Yeah. So we got a presentation from restaurant catering, very common, widespread, occupation, services. We are distribution, manufacturing, none. Port operation, none. So maybe we're not people from there. How about the oil and gas? Yeah, that's like you mentioned, Jennifer. Oil and gas. That's big in Nigeria, of course. Okay.
This is great.
Food and beverage. Yeah, I would say food and beverage goes into manufacturing, perhaps. So we can say manufacturing. We can have one manufacturing. Yeah, we got a broad range of occupations here or industries here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. And I think that, again, the fact that this is so very transferable, right? We're dealing with it in pretty much any career path that you're on. There's a supply chain that you're part of, touching, relying on, one way or another.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So should I move on?
Yes, we can move on.
Thank you.
So now we're going to look at, one of the questions that I hear most often out there is, where are the opportunities, right? And the good news is there are very, very many. So, I think that we can look at these here. These are just some of the areas where organizations continue to invest. So we've got planning and analytics, procurement, sales and operations, inventory, and logistics listed on the page, right? And although these roles are very different from each other, employers are really looking for many of the same qualities when they're looking for each of these roles to be filled. So, I've hired a lot of people into operations and leadership roles, and I can tell you that technical knowledge is very important. It really is, but it isn't enough usually. Candidates who stood out the most were the ones who could take information, understand the business, communicate it very clearly, and help solve problems. So this graph that we see here on the page, this graph is illustrating for us something that many employers are experiencing today, right? The demand for qualified professionals out there, it continues to grow faster than the supply of people who have the right combination of technical skills, business acumen, and communication.
Absolutely.
So I feel like this should encourage you, right? All of us. It means that companies are looking for people who are willing to keep learning and develop themselves. So that brings us to another important question, right? If employers are looking for these skills, where should you invest your own time and energy? So I'm going to hand this over to Aftab now to talk about the next slide, and about the best investments that you can make in your own career.
Exactly. And I just pick up on a very important note that you just said, Jennifer, that the gap. Mm-hmm. While I hear that there are not enough jobs, people are struggling. On the other hand, employers cannot find the right fit of people. They're struggling too. So look at the job postings, and you'll see that there is a gap between the applicants and what they expect. So if you know the gap, then all it takes for us is to step ahead, fill the gap, and be in the qualified bracket. So, like I said, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at ourselves. The most valuable asset that we have is ourselves, our own time, our own life. If we are capable, the difference between somebody who's progressing the ladders of achievements and going from place to place, changing jobs and becoming senior manager, director, is a matter of skills. How you present them, how to acquire them, how to present them, how to demonstrate them. Just to have a skill is one part, but also to showcase it and to have some document or some credential that people can look at it and say, okay, yeah, that demonstrates that you have the commitment, the investment in yourself, you've taken the training, you have used it in your experience. So that enriches your entire journey of career advancement. Practical skills, the supply chain management and related skills are all about practical applications. And that's why we put a lot of emphasis on using the tools that we use on a daily basis. For example, models built in Excel spreadsheets, simple down-to-earth models, what-if analysis, make or buy analysis, and location models. They're all very practical tools, and you don't need very high-level technology like IT knowledge. We don't expect anybody to have any idea about the back-end processing. We all expect each other to know a little bit about the Microsoft tools, Excel mainly, Word, PowerPoint, and then we also coach them if they need on the data analytics using Power BI, but that's like another area. But what we're saying here is that credentials, first of all, the skills, then demonstrable credentials, and then we learning is a continuous, is a habit. Learning is a habit, right? If I spend like a half hour on social media, very important to stay connected, to learn what's going on, but I also spend like half hour or maybe more on actual reading a book, watching a video or clip that has some learning for me, a case study or what's going on in the business world, just news. John Deere moved, opened a new plant in Mexico. Why? It was because of tariffs? No, tariffs were announced in February. They made the decision like 2 years ago. So what was the reason? Offshore, inshore, backshore. When you read those articles, you read the news, go to a webinar, you ask yourself questions, that enriches your thinking. Now you're a different person now, or a little bit. And when you make a decision, you ask questions of your own peers, colleagues, your supervisor. And that shows that you know what's going on, and it sharpens your thinking. So next we are going to another interesting survey, right? So because it's all about us, we need to be in the picture. Here's the question. Which skill do you plan to develop in the next 6 months? Don't go too far, just 6 months maybe, and then we can build upon that. So again, I'm gonna open my cell phone, scan the code, and see what happens. So I will put demand forecasting example, submit. There you go, that's me. So we got 2 for procurement, very important. Procurement is very, very important activity. That's where the supply chain takes off in your organization. For each of the entity in supply chain, procurement is the first step, then the delivery. Data analytics, very important emerging science for supply chain professionals. Demand forecasting, that's where everything begins. We see the demand and then we go from there. That's very important. I'm so happy to see presentation and communication. That's, like Jennifer said, some skills are across all professions, including supply chain. You have a very nice idea, good proposal to save some money for the company. Excellent idea. How do you present it? Is it convincing? Do you have the number, right number? Do you know how to play the story? That's important. So we got more coming up in procurement. Again, very important function. Thank you so much for sharing that, guys. It's really very important for us to know where we are going. And then let's move on to the next topic, which is the candidate. That's us, you and I. Okay. How do we build our value architecture? First of all, without any question, we need to have the knowledge that comes from our academic learning from college, university. We keep learning many, many places, talking to friends, speaking and going to webinars, reading books. But knowledge, the structured knowledge comes from your structured training, college, university, or institute like ours. So mastery of supply chain fundamentals. Fundamentals are so important that you cannot ignore their worth. Fundamentals is basically you enter into, 2 people enter a warehouse, right? One is supply chain professional, the other is accounting professional, finance, right? So what comes to their mind when you look at all the racks and all the moving machinery and equipment? The finance guy will think, what's the worth of this inventory and the financial terms of inventory, and are they all auditable? They're audited. So that's the question. Supply chain professional will immediately think of what's the coverage, for how long it is good. Is it good 1 week inventory or 1 month? Is it suited for the demand that's coming in? So see, different questions. That's your fundamental. You train your mind to ask those questions, get those answers immediately, without any effortless thinking. That happens when you really go into discussions and learn through various media. The skills. Then the good next step. You analyze everything in terms of supply chain. That's your profession. That's your responsibility towards the company, and you need to lead the thought. You are thought leaders. Nobody in that room where you sit with colleagues should have more knowledge about your own subject. If you're an inventory person, hey, who else should know more about inventory than yourself? I think there's a challenge. So I need to keep polishing, keep finishing my skills. Then experience. Experience is very good. I mean, no amount of training or academic learning can match experience. People learn from experience are very, very important things, and that's why they are valued. However, experience also can be a trap. Because my experience for 30 years in the same company is like limited to that company's processes, the products. If I go to a different industry, I will have to relearn the industry, right? So experience is very, very valuable, but don't limit yourself. Keep looking around, what else is happening. A good way to start is your vendors. What are they doing? How their supply chain working? Because they're relevant to you as well. You buy stuff from there, use in your processes. It's a good way to start. Look at your distributors. How did they? So you expand your knowledge. Keep learning from experience. Expand your experience, not just limit to your own silo, or that's not good. Professionalism. So ethics, very, very important. The moment you demonstrate that you're ethical, professional, you're reliable, you stand up your commitments, you will stand out. You are noticed. That's your credential that nobody can match unless they are equal in value. So that's your value architecture. I'll leave it at that and then move on to the next very important topic, which is navigating your, mapping your route. And I think Jennifer is the best one to comment on that, please.
Thank you, Aftab. So I think one of the biggest misconceptions about supply chain is that there is only one career path. And in reality, there are many, many paths. And very few careers follow a perfectly straight line. I think this slide illustrates that pretty well. And I think anyone out there that even has a little bit of experience behind them would agree with me here. In fact, if I look back on my own career, I certainly did not make a straight line. And I hope that, is relatable for everyone out there.
Yes.
So I like to think of these as three different highways, if you will. We've got the analytical path, right? If you enjoy working with data, solving problems in that capacity and making decisions based on information, an analytical path may be a great fit for you. Operational, if you enjoy seeing things happen, right? The moving products, improving processes, leading teams. Operations could be, where you thrive. And, for me, much of my own career has been in like this operations highway, if you will. And what I love most is that every day presents a new challenge to solve. We also have strategic, right? If you enjoy working with suppliers, negotiating, planning for the future, or even helping organizations make long-term decisions, a strategic path could be the right fit for you. So, one thing I've learned is that your first job doesn't necessarily determine your entire career. Every experience teaches you something. And over time, you begin connecting those experiences together. So sometimes the opportunities you didn't plan or plan for become the ones that shape your career the most. So I would say, don't worry about choosing the perfect path here. Focus on choosing a direction and continue learning as opportunities appear for you. And really, regardless of which path you choose, there are certain skills that employers value across all of them. So, we can now take a look at those and what our audience maybe has interest for in these fields. I believe our next slide, Aftab, is a poll slide again.
Yeah, exactly. And the segue to that next topic, I'm just going to the comments in the chat box. There is from Adicola. She's saying, I'm not sure yet, right? Well, that's a good point to start. If you're not sure, you can look at what's available, right? And then you start picking. You have to make a decision. Of course, you know that. So you cannot be unsure for too long. So it's good to be unsure for right now. It keeps the options open, available, flexible. However, look at the available information and your passion. What drives you? Do you like to sit behind the screen and do analytics and and help decision making support, do the decision support and do all the number crunching, or you want to stand up in front of a crowd and present the numbers and grab the decision yourself. So both are very important, equally important. So those personal preferences and your own savvy, your number savvy, or more like communication savvy, that should be a tip or a help to help you make decisions. I'm looking at others who are put a CIPS graduation. They are excellent. So yeah, I think we'll have the chat also available, Jennifer, for ourselves to to go through and map the whole thing.
Yes, I agree. I think, like you mentioned, Aftab, I think the important part is that you have to know yourself. Yes. And sometimes it takes trying something before you can really decide whether or not it's a good fit for you.
Exactly. So let's try this one, guys. Cell phones out. Sure. I'm going to go there. Camera open.
Thanks for playing this game with us. I think it's kind of fun.
This crowd is very, very interactive. I'm really happy. I would say data demand planner. There you go.
This is great.
So yeah, logistics. That's very, very important part of supply chain, warehouse logistics. Every country has that, and especially large countries like Nigeria. Absolutely, you rely on networks, transportation fleets, and warehouses network. Absolutely. Manufacturing operations that includes not just oil refining, but also downstream manufacturing. Right. Excellent.
This is great. Thanks. Some variety there. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's great. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So premium skills of 2026, right? I feel like everyone's waiting for this. Yes. What do I need to focus on? And I think, technical knowledge helps get you started, right? These are the skills that help you continue growing. So the supply chain changes constantly, right? That's a matter of fact. Employers are valuing the professionals out there who can stay calm, adapt, and really keep moving forward, and not just themselves, but the organization. So you don't have to know every answer, right, as problems come up, but you do need to know how to gather information, how to analyze it, and then, how to make thoughtful, data-driven decisions. In sustainability, our organizations today think beyond cost, right? Like I mentioned earlier, it's not just a buzzword, but organizations out there are also thinking about the environmental impact, waste reduction, and long-term responsibility. This is an important part of being an organization today, and a global one especially. We have risk management. The last several years have taught businesses that unexpected events happen, right? Nobody could have anticipated the pandemic shutting down the world the way that it did. And organizations now expect employees to think ahead and prepare for uncertainty. Digital transformation and automation, AI and automation are changing how we work in almost every capacity, but they don't replace professionals, right? They allow professionals to make better decisions faster. Global collaboration. Very few supply chains operate inside one country anymore, right? The ability to communicate across cultures and work with people around the world has become one of the most valued professional skills out there. So in fact, I feel like this webinar alone is a perfect example of global collaboration, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we got people from different countries, at least 5 different countries. That's so amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, a few years ago for me, I realized I wanted to continue growing professionally. And for me, I invested very heavily with time, money, and intention to taking courses that would help me grow my career. And, I think the important lesson here is that we need to continue learning, right? And that might be a certification. It could be a technical course. Maybe it's a new software platform that you're learning, or, focusing on developing stronger communication skills. I think over time, these very small investments in yourself will add up to some greater value.
They do.
Yeah. So, I mean, the big takeaway here is that professionals who continue learning will continue creating opportunities for themselves.
Exactly.
So, of course, knowing what skills to develop specifically is only part of the journey. The next question really is, what can get in the way, right? We all face these obstacles that can slow our growth if we're not intentional about our careers. So Aftab is going to share some of the most common career hazards and maybe how to avoid them.
Thank you, Jennifer. And before I go there, I'll just add on to your comment about AI in digital transformation and automation. And I would encourage people to go view our webinar past 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago about AI and supply chain management. What you just mentioned, Jennifer, is so true, that AI is just another tool to help us do our jobs better. So the more we know about it, the more comfortable we are, and we can benefit from it. So let's move on to the hazards. Navigating common career hazards. Why would career have hazards? I'll drive to my job, there are enough hazards on the road to be aware of. How about my career? Does that have hazards? Of course it has. That's the reason some people move faster than others, because sometimes a hazard can pull you back, can slow you down. So let's look at them. Excuse me. So if I wait until I'm fired or leave job or I'm unemployed for any reason, I mean, there are tons of reasons for me to lose job. Then I take out my old resume from the rack and brush it up, dust it off, and say, hey, let's see what's in there. That's too late, my friends. That's too late. And the skills, I now go to a job board or go to a job posting and say, hey, do I know these things? Maybe not, because I'm relying too much on my own, job. Never looked out, never learned what's going on in the industry, never talked to anybody, never attended an event, seminar, webinar, whatever, never read a book. My social media time was spent on fun things. That's it. So I'm in a wrong position. That's a very bad hazard. Nobody wants to be there. Nobody wants to be there. Trust me. So don't wait. Keep yourself updated. Normally, as a habit. Just take pride in yourself and be out in the front. Then ignoring technology. I mean, things change. And my company may still have the old legacy systems, but it doesn't hurt me if I just learn from my friends and at least are aware. You are running ECC 6 for some time, but now it's there S4 HANA. Hey, there's stuff there. Knowledge is available on your fingertips. So go get it, right? Just be aware. I missed this one. Maintaining poor pop-up came along. Can you read this for me, please? It's blocked from my pop-up. Maintaining poor, which habits? Jennifer? The second hazard? Can you please?
Maintaining poor, sorry, I can't see it either.
Yeah, that's for everybody? Okay, sorry. I just, this pop-up block came up. Countdown timer, I don't want that. Anyway, okay, escape, maybe. Okay. No. Yeah. Presentation still there. Mm-hmm. That can be a problem. I don't know why it's there. That's just no, it's gone.
There it is. Networking.
It's just waiting for some time. Maintaining poor networking habits. Networking is very important. Trust me, many jobs, promotions are gained through networking. That's how you know what's available. Somebody will tell you, in my department, there is a position open. It's not yet on the job board. They may not advertise it. They're just looking for somebody internally. How do you know that? Because you go to the cafeteria, sit with people, you have friends, just make connections. That's very, very important. Also, have a good feeling to be connected, to be, air your concerns, learn about other people. Networking is a very good habit. So relying on weak communication skills. Guys, trust me, we are technical people, supply chain management, mostly from technology, but also from other areas. So we invest heavily on learning tools and processes and methodologies, but communication. How do you present your idea in a convincing manner? That's very important to know. Then I just talked about technology. Just move on to operating outdated industry knowledge. Your industry might have moved on. Your company may not have, for any reason. So your competitors are moving on. It's going to hurt and hit you sometimes. So your industry knowledge is very important. What's tracking, what's around the corner for the next thing happening? Maybe not in your area, maybe somewhere else, but you'll be, you know, ahead of the curve if you learn those things. And relying solely on tenure and experience, that's important. Very good weightage, but again, experience can be limited, and sometimes when things change rapidly, and you could find yourself on an island of experience with not a bridge to new technology and new knowledge. So again, to avoid that pitfall, the trap, go beyond your own job or your own company and keep learning. And don't rely too much on tenures. Companies have different reasons to switch people. So always be on the watch. Pack your own parachute. Don't let anybody else pack your parachute. That's your parachute, your career, your skill, your resume, your credentials, right? And document achievements. We do so much, trust me. Every day we achieve something, big or small. Over the period of like 1 month, we have done 10 things that are new. Over 6 months, we have done 10 things. Where do we record them? I don't think we record them honestly and judicially. We should make a habit to create a Word document. At the end of each week, what did I achieve this week? Put it there. Just forget about it. We do every Friday, every Sunday when we get time. If you want, you can add that to your resume. I would recommend that you update your resume at least once 6 months, if not in 3 months. Because when you are looking for a new job, you take out your old resume. Now there's so much happened. Now it's hard to recall everything. You know, memory can only go that far, go into that much detail. If you had that, like that log or list of achievements, it's easier to take it from there, summarize it, make good of it, and then put on resume. So that's very important. Those are the traps that don't fall into those traps, and keep yourself active and agile. Right. So these are the emerging how people want to look at you. The employers, they want to see your AI literacy. Do you know enough about AI? You may not be an IT. You may not be an IT professional, but you use AI, and we all use AI. Our cell phones use AI, computers use AI. Just need to know what's going on is very important. That's only this literacy, not AI, not AI technology for you. AI literacy should be aware, right? So the future belongs to adaptable. So we need to adapt. It is quite easy. It looks scary, but it's not. It's here just once within that habit to anticipate the shifts. If you look forward, then you can anticipate the shifts. Data-driven decision making. So when you make a decision, we need data. I can say we need to improve. Like what? We used to ship 200 in a day. Now we need to do 220. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. We need to add 20 more. You can translate that into capacity, into all things that you need. If you just want to say, or for example, you say we are better than last year. Okay, how? I'm just saying we are better, but how? You have to have numbers. We did 200. Now we are doing 205. Oh yeah, that's better. So number driven, right? Risk sustainability. So sustainability, like Jennifer just mentioned, is very, very important. We see that the impact of environmental shifts and changes, very important. And your company is transforming digitally from the legacy system to new system, how you play a role and how you know what's happening, how you support that transition. Automation it has happened already. We have got driverless cars, trucks working. We got robots working. We got all those things. We work with them. They are support, and they take over some jobs, but they also need people to maintain those technologies. Robots don't run on their own. Yeah, they run on their own for a while, but they need programming. They need maintenance. That parts of the machine. So we just need to upgrade our skills and find the right path. Global collaboration, like Jennifer mentioned, is very important. You may be speaking directly with somebody, a colleague across the oceans, across the border. We never meet. I had many colleagues in other countries. We work on a daily basis together, but we never met physically, personally. Some of them, but not all of them. Very strong bonds, strong relationships, very good friendships globally. So that makes you a global team. So make that habit of connecting with people. Supply chain resilience. So resilience is something that can sustain storms without falling apart. So how do you get resilience? Resilience you get in your personal life or in your corporate life. Your business is like a person. Resilience is when you have good habits as a person and good processes as a company. What's habits for a person, an individual, are processes for a company, as simple as that. For example, you have a sales and operational planning process. Now you may have it. Is it running the way it should run? It is a series of meetings, monthly meetings, where you discuss sales forecast and the demand and the inventory and the capacity and what's coming on. So it brings minds together from sales, marketing, finance, manufacturing, procurement, all the important people, and they sit down and make decisions. If the process is robust, the minutes are being made, pre-readers are being sent, decisions are being made with data, they are followed up, then you have a resilient process. But if they're like, just nobody takes care, and then you chat in the meeting, don't come out with decisions, they're made, but they're not followed up, you have a process that's a broken process. When something hits you, you are going to run around here and there and not find your way. You're not resilient. So pay attention to processes. Processes are for a company, there are habits for individual, very important. So that was what's emerging, what people are looking for. And skill set duality. See, you have put skills into two different categories. One is the qualification to be there, just to be there. You need to know about ERP systems. All companies use that, almost all. Who doesn't know Excel today? Power BI is something that next level. You may not necessarily have it, but you might. It's always better to have it. Data analytics, AI tools, inventory management. These are core skills in supply chain management. You have to have this. Is a must-have. And how demand works, must have. You may not be a demand planner, you may be in manufacturing, but you should know how demand works so you can better use it. Procurement, very important start of the journey. So these are the skills that you may be in a certain area, but if you know about your other areas, you can work better with colleagues, see what's driving them, what's the challenges, what you expect from them, what they expect from you. And then these are the growth engines: communication, critical thinking, right? Very important. And problem solving, teamwork, communication, negotiation, presentation skill, leadership, adaptability, and emotional intelligence. They're all very, very important. See, we hear about the 5 physical senses: hear, touch, smell, etc., etc., and then we have 6 faculties of mind, right? Learn about those: memory, uh, and what are these? Imagination, intuition, will. There are 6 of them. We work on them, we improve them, we make them stronger. That's we drop on them and in those on the right side. Very important. So let's go back 1 second. Yeah, they hire for skills and attitude, then train for the business. See, you don't know the business yet, maybe, but they'll train you on the business. How many warehouses they have, how many products they have, but they'll what is see in you is look for you in skills and attitude. Right? So that was that from my side. And skill set duality. Yeah, that's the 2 main areas. And the catalyst, Jennifer, comment on that, please.
Yes, thank you. And I think this is a perfect transition right here. I love the name of this slide. Earlier we talked about investing in yourself and developing premium skills that employers are looking for. And really, one of the best ways to demonstrate that investment is through professional certification. And certifications don't replace experience, but they do help accelerate it. So let's talk about what employers see, right? As a hiring manager myself, when I reviewed resumes or interviewed candidates, a certification didn't automatically mean someone was the best candidate, but it immediately told me something very important about them. It told me that they were willing to invest in their own professional growth. So employers really want people who continue learning, not because they have to, but because they're curious, right? This structured knowledge, certifications help organize your learning around specific industry best practices rather than trying to learn everything on your own. So most good certification programs emphasize practical application and not just theory, right? We want to be able to use the tools that we're learning about and understand how to apply them. And finally, certifications really help communicate your own commitment before you've even walked into an interview, right? You get to tell a little bit about yourself before you even get there. And, one thing I appreciate about professional certifications is that they allow you to focus on the skills that matter most to you and to your career. So, maybe that's supply chain, maybe it's a part of supply chain in procurement, or maybe it's project management, Lean Six Sigma. You can build expertise really just one step at a time. It doesn't have to be all at once. So really here, I think the goal isn't to, advise everyone here to go out and collect a lot of certificates. The goal is to continue becoming more valuable. And that naturally leads us to our next question, right? How do you build a successful career over time? I think we can move on to the next slide.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, as we've talked about today, building a successful career isn't really just about one big decision to make. It's about a series of very intentional steps over time. So this roadmap here, I think, illustrates that journey for us, right? We've got a series of steps. The first step is really just building a strong foundation. Learn the fundamentals of supply chain and understand how the business operates, or many businesses operate, right? And then next, you want to learn the practical tools. Become comfortable working with the data, with the technology and the systems that employers are using every day. And once you've built those solid foundations, you can begin earning recognized credentials and most importantly, applying what you've learned through practical experience. And only then does leadership naturally begin to develop. Mm-hmm. Because, leadership isn't just about managing people. It's about building trust, solving problems, making good, solid decisions, and helping others succeed. So the final step here isn't really the end of the journey at all, right? It's continuing to learn. So when I look back at my own career, I realized that every role really helped me prepare for the next one. I didn't begin leading teams, right, or managing large projects. I built experience, really one opportunity at a time. So years later, I chose to pursue further education because it was the right step for me professionally. But your next step might be quite different, right? It might be your first certification. It might be learning a new software platform, or maybe taking on a project that stretches your abilities a little bit. So I think the key message here is not to feel like you have to reach step 6 tomorrow. I think you need to focus on taking the next step and taking it well, right? If you're going to do that next step and make that leap, do it well. Be proud of it. Careers are really built one experience, one skill, and really one opportunity at a time. So as you continue learning and building your career, there's another important piece that many people overlook. And I think we can jump to the next slide. Thank you, Aftab.
Yep, welcome.
So here we talk about engineering your personal brand flywheel. Many people believe that career opportunities come only from submitting an application online. But in reality, some of the best opportunities that we have come through relationships, visibility, and reputation, right? Look in the center of this wheel that we see here. That's really what this flywheel represents. So as we walk around it, keeping your resume or your CV updated, update your LinkedIn profile, and don't wait till you're looking for a job. Don't wait till you're unemployed. Stay involved. Join professional organizations like BRASI, attend webinars like this, and continue learning. Build your network, right? Networking isn't asking people for jobs. It's building genuine professional genuine professional relationships, right? And cultivating them. And don't be afraid to find mentors. Learn from people with more experience than you. And when you gain experience, share what you've learned with others. And over time, those relationships really help you create those new opportunities. So if there's one thing I've learned throughout my career, it is that many opportunities came through relationships. Someone either remembered my work or introduced me to someone else, or someone that saw that I was continuing to learn and grow. And very few of the most meaningful opportunities came from simply hitting an apply button. So your personal brand isn't something that you are going to create overnight. It's built every day through your actions, your curiosity, your willingness to learn, and the relationships that you're building along the way. So invest in those things consistently, and you'll continue creating opportunities throughout your career. And, don't forget, it's not built one moment at a time, or in one single moment, sorry. It is built through those small and very consistent investments in yourself.
Yep, and one day you know that you are there, and you have solid footing. Like in the previous slide, there's a jump without being prepared. You might get there, but you may not be being able to stay there. So it's good to have solid foundation built through learning and networking. Absolutely.
Yes. So I think it's time for you to take over the next slide with a closer look at how certifications can help accelerate your career track.
Yeah, exactly. So you see, what this thing does for you is put on a resume. See, resumes are read by machines. Application tracking system, that's called ATS. So when we send resume, maybe some don't realize, they don't read your resume. They put under a scanner. It kind of matches the resume with job posting, whatever else they have it there. And one of the few things, it reads the qualification header. Do not miss any meaningful thing over there. So if I'm a BS in supply chain management, I put BS, SCM, etc. And then I say, but you are BS supply chain management, went to school with me, and you also did your certification. Let's say it's called Syscom or something else. I'm just giving a name, comma, Syscom, your name. What do you think the machine will do? ATS will read the both and say, hey, this one is closer. You are closer to the job description than myself. You have got more, better qualification, and it's demonstrable. I can talk all day about what I did, but that one acronym and a credential says a lot before you even start talking. So that opens the door for you. So don't undervalue your credentials. If somebody wrote a CIPS here, excellent credential, amazing. So those are the pathways to continuous growth and learning and enrichment. So I'm sorry. It shows the employer that you are committed to yourself, to your learning, and you means your future employee, future team member. You're an asset for them, for the company, and credibility that you are not just saying things, that you also learn what you're saying, and structured knowledge. Went through a structured process, didn't miss anything out, and aligned with industry standards. You are aligned with industry standards, not like something that you just imagine. You are there, connected, and then, excuse me, you're ready to take on challenges, right? Readiness. You are applying for a career. You are there, and you have what it takes. So that's what it does. If you have any questions over here, I'll just move to the next slide. Is that okay, Jennifer? We're good.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you. So questions, I think I have answered a few questions in the chat, and the request to share the recording for this. Of course, we do post all these in BRASI's LinkedIn account. So somebody asked about AI presentation, and I answered that. So you can go to the AI account, or you can send an email to me, and I'll be glad to share the link. I put my email address there in the chat. Anybody can take it from there. But yes, recording is being done, and we'll put it there for you to benefit. There are all the other recordings too. So always you can contact us. And then these are some of the courses that align with your career journey. And before you go, we want to give you a thank you gift for being here, taking the time to be with us. BRASI is giving you a special token of thanks, token of appreciation. It'll take off 30% of any course that you take on BRASI, just enter the code KNBY, that's nobility acronym KNBY 102 when you check out BRASI website, any course you take, and this you can add it if there's a promotion running already, let's say 10%, you can add it to that one. So it's addable, may end up with even more savings. So do try this out, pick a course and try it out. This year, special gift from BRASI, and it is valid through the entire week up to 31st July. With that, I would say we'll conclude the presentation. Thank you again for your presence here. And I thank my colleague Jennifer to take out the time. And I see the appreciation, the clapping from our audience. Really, it's very heartening and very warm feeling to be here with you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Very enjoyable.
Yeah, very enjoyable. So we conclude. We'll say goodbye. Have a wonderful rest of the day or the evening, and we look forward to seeing you in the future webinars. We have this every other week. Just look up LinkedIn post on BRASI, and you will find the next when we are presenting. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye bye to all.
Thank you.